So it's now 2017. I figured the first video of the year that I'd upload would be about a knife from 2016 that I think just did a lot of things right. That's going to be the Kershaw Entropy that you can see in the middle of the knives here. I put the other knives here just to kind of give you an example of one of those trends in the knife industry, which is having these anodized either titanium or aluminum standoffs instead of a backspacer, or instead of just plain black or silver standoffs. So you have these, ZT-0450s with those red, and the CF version with the green. And of course, looking at all these, you have the Benchmade Rift Special Edition from Cutlery Shop with the orange standoffs, which I previously reviewed. I think these are still in stock. And you also have the Special Edition, I believe from KnifeWorks, the Osborne 940, which has the blue and black G10 and those blue standoffs. I put those on the table because in the middle here we have the Kershaw Entropy, which has these orangish red, okay, there we go, orangish red standoffs, kind of in between the orange that's in Benchmade Rift, but not red like the, actually kind of similar in this lighting. Maybe they are more red, but usually when I look at them they seem more orange. But the red one's in the 0450. Now, I'm going to put this back on the table there for you. Now, the difference is that, look at all these knives, exclude the Entropy here, these are all expensive knives. Not like real expensive, but they're all over $100. They're all USA made, high quality steels, high quality materials, but it's not a budget friendly option, and not something that if someone was just getting the knives they would buy. And you can also go on various sites to purchase standoffs for certain Kershaws, like the Leak and the Blur, titanium standoffs from third parties, some people who make them. I've put them on some of my knives, but still that's going to run you around probably $20 or so. But for this, this is an outstanding value because the Entropy comes in around $25. Now, you have to remember at that price point what we're getting here. So you have a $25 knife. So this is Chinese produced. This is not a USA produced Kershaw, but that's kind of what you're expecting at $25. And you're not getting G10, you're getting the glass reinforced nylon plastic. You can kind of hear it has a different sound. Well, I mean, this is smooth G10, but G10 feels just more dense and whatnot. When you have both knives, you could tell the difference in the handle material. But yeah, it does feel plasticky. But there's some detail work done here where they put some grooves here for it doesn't provide a lot of traction, but it does what it provides a little bit of attraction for when you're holding the knife. And it's a lot better than what I've seen Kershaw do before with the budgets and this glass reinforced, where they put the K texture and there's a bunch of little Ks all over the place. I think this makes it much more attractive and appealing. So this is a good EDC knife, and I think it's also a very good knife for if you're going to give it as a gift to someone who's either not that into knives or they're just starting to get into knives, because it gives them just a nice design, affordable price, and that extra little touch. So let's go over it. So the model number is 1885. This is the Kershaw Entropy. It has a 3.25 inch blade, which they say is hollow ground. Must be very slightly hollow ground because it feels almost like a flat grind, but everything I've read says it's a hollow grind. must be very shallow. So you have a stone wash finish. So on the one side you have Kershaw and the Speed Safe, because this is an assisted knife, like many of the budget Kershaws are. And then on the other side, it's hard to get into focus there, that's how shiny it is, but you have the model number to Kai, Rexford design, because this is a Todd Rexford design. And then right here it says China and HCR 13 MOV for the steel, so I don't know if that's coming through the camera or not. We have a very functional drop point. This is actually based on one of Todd Rexford's customs, which is significantly more, of course, but the overall design is based on one of Todd Rexford's custom knives. Now, there are no thumb studs or thumb hole, thumb plate or anything. It is a flipper only design. Has a speed safe, so you shouldn't have much problem. Unless there's any problem with the torsion bar, the knife should deploy every time. The flipper tab is not very large. Doesn't need to be with the assisted opening feature, and has a little bit of jimping on the top. Not much. The pivot is adjustable on both sides with a Torx driver. Not my preferred pivot on Kershaw's. I like the ones on the Blur and the Knockout. That's what I'm thinking of, the Knockout, where it has the hex side that doesn't move on the one end and then has a Torx on the other end. I like that, where the pivot will only move on one end, or the screw going through the pivot will only move on one end. This one, it looks like you can adjust on either end. So you have that glass reinforced nylon scales on both sides, stainless steel liners, and of course one of the liners functions as the liner lock. Pretty solid. This is definitely more of an EDC knife, so you're not expecting to hard use this knife or anything. There is no milling. Well, actually, yeah, it's a very slight milling in the liner side, but there's no milling on the opposite end of the liner. So, but of course this is a budget knife, so they're not going to put a lot of money into trying to mill out the scales for a $25 knife. But it does come in at 3.7 ounces, so it's not very heavy. And I think for an EDC knife, it is with a 3 1/4 inch blade. 3.7 ounces is not bad. Now let's get into the pocket clip, which is reversible for tip up right or left hand carry, and this is of course set up left-handed for me. And also the pocket clip rides towards the blade, not the back, which means that when it's in your pocket, it should ride towards the back of your pocket there, which actually it works very well. And it's a deep carry clip. The one thing that I have not liked about this clip from Kershaw, this deep carry one, is that the screws do sometimes interfere. I do like the one on the Blur, not the Blur, the Knockout, and I can't remember the name, I just reviewed it recently. But the one that just recently came out, that was a Blade HQ exclusive, because the screws are on the other sides instead of underneath the clip there, and so they cause less interference. But overall, it's a good design, and it's got the Kershaw logo, which seems very redundant with, of course, putting it on the blade. Would be nice if it was just, plain stainless steel. But I think it functions well, and the fact that it is reversible is another thing. Another good thing that Kershaw is doing with this knife. So yeah, $25 for this knife, which has a lot of standard Kershaw materials like the glass reinforced nylon 8CR13 MOV steel, but with that extra added touch of those anodized aluminum standoffs, I think just it's really neat, because overall this is a very functional design, and If you look at a lot of Todd Rexford designs, he has very functional blade shapes. And this is also very ergonomic in hand. I wouldn't recommend this for a self-defense knife because it's kind of small. There's not a lot of traction. These glass reinforced nylon handles, although they provide some traction, it's nothing like a good traction G10. But as an EDC knife, it is great. As a gift knife, it is great. As someone's first knife, it's great. There's a lot of good here with this knife. And I think that Kershaw should take cues from this. I've heard a lot of positive reviews on this as well. And a lot of it is to do with the fact that this is a great design and it offers you that little extra with those standoffs. And this is something Kershaw should be doing with especially their budget line. I'm not sure if they've ever done it with another Kershaw knife other than the Ruby, which was an extremely expensive limited edition knife that was for their 40th year anniversary of the company. But this is something that doesn't require a lot extra on their part, but it distinguishes the knife from a lot of the knives where it's just, stone washed or whatever, black washed or, bead blasted blade with black handles, and black hardware. This offers a little bit extra. And I'm not sure how much it cost them. I'm sure it's not a lot. But to put that little extra in there, to give the knife a little, bit more uniqueness, I guess you would say, to have it stand out, compared to having to pay, over $100 for a ZT or a Benchmade or or, buy a knife and spend the money getting standoffs on your own and putting them in the knife, which, could be around $20 or so. To put this in a budget knife, I think is a great idea. And I think that moving on, Kershaw should do more of that because a lot of the designs, sometimes seem the same and a lot of them don't end up standing out. And I think in many ways they put a lot of designs out there, they see what is popular and what's not, and they discontinue some and they keep some around. And I understand that that's part of how the business works. But doing this, I think, really sets it apart from a lot of knives that are coming out. And if they continue to do this, put little features like anodized aluminum standoffs in knives, I think it will continue to help them just sell knives very well. Because I think that this, I'm not sure, I don't know any of the numbers or anything, but I'm pretty sure this was one of the better received knives of 2016 in their line. And they had a lot in their 2016 line, and a lot of them did not interest me. The Pico was good. I will probably be doing a video on the Pico eventually. But there were some where it just seemed like, they just kind of put a knife out there and it was stainless steel or glass reinforced nylon handles, and it was, functional blade, but, there wasn't much special about it. But this, I think, offers that extra bit of specialness, and man, for $25, it's a great deal. And I think that it's one of those things where it reminds me that you can get a budget knife around $25 and still have some of those really neat features that you get with your higher end models. And a lot of times I will be carrying higher end models just because I have invested the money into that, and it would be kind of silly not to use those knives. But this is one of those knives that reminds me of when I first got into collecting knives, just those little extra things that when you first start collecting knives, you go, oh, that's really neat, and that's why you end up buying some of these knives. And this, for someone just getting started out, they could see this and be like, wow, that's really neat, I really want that knife. And I think that if Kershaw continues to do stuff like that, they will sell knives like this very well. So that's my video on the Kershaw Entropy. If you have any questions about this video, leave them down in the comments below. Feel free to like and subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.